Turn yours up and you.
Hold on.
Okay. What now? Facebook Live.
But Justice
Hi.
Amy Coney
I can hear
Barrett
you.
says the challengers are
Okay,
suggesting the federal
no, we should be
government's
calling you
mandate
in the
is
next
an
minute.
overreach.
I think what you're saying is that even if there are some industries or some people who would face a great risk,
No,
and this
no,
might
no,
be
no.
necessary
No,
to
when
address that
Noah
risk. So in
calls
other
you.
words, if
She don't
OSHA
have to
had
mute
adapted a more
herself.
targeted
No,
rule,
you good.
you might
Yeah,
not be
good.
contesting
No,
that, or you would
she
not
can
be
hear you.
contesting that.
You can
But
hear me,
the
right,
problem
Melinda?
here is its scope.
Also at
Okay.
townhall.com,
So now you got control.
earlier
Okay,
this week,
great.
North Korea claimed to have successfully launched
you got
a
3 minutes.
hypersonic missile.
2.5.
Now the neighbors to the south in Seoul, they
Testing, 1,
do
2.
about nothing.
Testing,
U.S.
1, 2.
employers
Testing,
adding
testing.
a modest 199,000
Testing,
jobs
1,
last
2.
month, while the unemployment rate fell sharply. at a
Testing,
time when
1,
many
2.
businesses are struggling to fill jobs, with Americans still somewhat reluctant about returning to the workforce these days. At the same time, Friday's jobs report showed unemployment fell from 4.2 to 3.9%. More on these stories at townhall.com.
This news update brought to you by Homeless Veterans of San Diego with Kelly Luisi. Heard each Saturday morning at 11:30, working to put an end to the
Testing,
epidemic
1,
of
2.
homelessness.
Testing, 1, 2.
I'm Lou
Testing,
Dobbs. All
1,
eyes
2.
on the Supreme Court. Washington has chalked up the weakest job gains in 20 months. And good news, bad news for California job seekers. Those stories next.
No.
You know, if
Something
you
was
feel like
over
you're
there.
stuck with a healthcare
No, I
plan
thought
that
something
isn't
was behind there, so I
affordable
needed
or you
to
simply
look.
don't like it, right now is a great time to switch to MediShare. The typical family saves $500 or more per month with MediShare, and what's more, they like it. MediShare has double the customer satisfaction rate when compared to health insurance. Double. You get access to a massive network of providers and 24/7 telehealth. And MediShare is the most trusted name in healthcare sharing. It's been around for more than 25 years, and it's more than just affordable healthcare, too. You get to be part of a community of Christians who pray for each other and support each other. But here's why now is the time to make the switch. Join before January 15th, and they'll waive your new member fee. You'll save another $170 right off the bat. Call now. You'll get a price within 2 minutes. And again, the deadline is January 15th, so you can save even more. Call 877-64-BIBLE. That's 877-64-BIBLE. 877-64-BIBLE.
The U.S. Supreme Court heard hours of arguments in a special hearing today focused on President Biden's unilateral vaccine mandate for all businesses with 100 or more employees. The court now could let the mandate proceed or issue a stay against it, delaying it or strike it down.
James, I hope you have tested it's Friday because Michelle's going to beat you.
You know what? There is no way she's going to beat
the Dow
me.
Jones Industrial.
It's not.
I don't know, man.
It's not going to happen.
Wednesday one wasn't even close.
Come on, man. You're giving her too much credit.
She's got style, man.
Okay, we're going to see what she's going to do in about 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Okay, you got her scared. I'm looking at her right now, man.
Oh, I'm not scared.
Dude, I sent you an incredible interview I did today with Godby as my co-host. You're going to love it.
You know what? I downloaded it already.
It's Your Life.
I'll talk to you later.
Sponsored by J.C. Cooley.
Life is a series of circles and cycles, phases and stages. These are your experiences that teach you the lessons of life. You can either ignore them or embrace them. Welcome to the James Cooley Show. It's your life. James is a motivational speaker, author, military veteran, and founder of the James Cooley Foundation. James is here to equip you to strive for greatness and to overcome adversity. It's time to get equipped today for the challenges of tomorrow. Now, here's the host of It's Your Life, James Cooley.
Hello, welcome to It's Your Life. I'm James Cooley, and wow, Noah, this is one of those wow. Okay. You know, man, Noah. Friday! Oh, this is one of them wow moments, man. It's Friday. It will be Friday! Woo! It's Friday night!
I beat you.
You beat me, but guess what? Michelle challenged me on Wednesday, and you gave her the 10. And
she was 10 out of 10 easily. The style was supreme.
Okay, let's find out if she can do Friday. So it's Friday! No.
Okay, that was pretty good. No, I think Michelle's got you on this one, but I'm interested to see.
I'm going old school with a disco song. Do 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 do. Friday. Dun, 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 dun. Thank God it's Friday.
See, when Michelle brings it in musically, JC, you haven't got a chance.
You know what, man?
I love you, brother.
Hey, I love you too, man. But I'm going to give that one to her, man. I'm going to give that one to her. And
it's a wise decision, my friend.
And you know what, man? This is so much fun. The James Cooley Show is your life. We have so much fun.
You have to. It's part of the whole package.
Yeah, and it's just amazing how we do this and be able to bring the heat. I mean, 5 nights, every night live, right? And then Saturday in Dallas. So
we're almost never off. Almost always on the ball.
But you know what, man? I tell you, it's also incredible to get some of the guests that we have on our show. And tonight's show, Noah, I'm going to tell you, you talking a legend in the making. We got this absolutely fantastic, wonderful guest that's on the show tonight. And I tell you, her name is Melinda Wittstock. And, I'm not going to give away too much right now because, that's Michelle. You know how Michelle, she put me and you both in the background. And
she makes us look good.
And that's, this guest that we have on tonight is absolutely wonderful. And listen, audience, I'm telling you that if you want to be part of this conversation, get a chance to know this wonderful young lady and all the things that she is doing, and just learn a little bit from her background. That's 1-888-344-1170. Again, that's 1-888-344-1170. No, I'm going to ask you real quickly because I know you're the hardest working man in radio, the live radio
Say
producer.
That a little louder. The boss is still down the hall.
Oh, I know the boss is there, and I see that the boss is locked in and listening and watching. So you're the hardest working man in radio, especially live radio. Kevin,
live radio is kind of my thing.
Kevin, get this man a raise. Okay, I'm gonna get a little giggle from him in a minute, but man, how you been doing today, Noah?
I've actually had a very good day. My show across the county is coming up this next weekend. I got to talk with one of my favorite and your favorite people, Chief Ralph Godby Jr. He was actually co-host on my show, and we did a tremendous tribute to a pastor, a dear friend of the radio station and of mine, Pastor Ray Bentley, who recently passed away in the last couple of days. And so we did a nice tribute to him, and people can hear that on my show this coming Saturday at 10:30 p.m. on K-Praise.
And I want you to know that I downloaded the show. I listened to a couple of minutes.
Can't wait for your feedback.
But I'm going to listen to it tomorrow on my 7-mile hike. Got to do that. Even though
miles in.
Man, it's freezing. We back in Dallas, or we was in San Diego.
How cold is it?
Oh my God.
Man, it was like 26 degrees. I was in San Diego yesterday. 26.
And here I am complaining it gets cold when it's 50.
Oh man, but you know what? I still had to get out and do my thing, man. And I did it. You'll be proud of me.
I am proud of you, man.
8 miles in 2 hours and 30 minutes. And I'm still cold, man. And that's been about 5 hours, 6 hours ago.
But before we get off into it, since we're talking about how we're doing, I'm mostly concerned about how is Bella doing?
She's absolutely fantastic because she saw her mama, and she saw her mama instantly healed. And
you know what? Our guest tonight, she has a golden retriever, and we have a black lab, and she wasn't feeling well for a couple of weeks. We came back early. She's doing better. She's on the mend, and labs, golden retrievers are great family dogs. The greatest.
They're great family dogs. And so Noah, she's doing absolutely fantastic. But you know what? I cannot wait to get this show started. So I tell you.
Time to get it rolling. Right now, I just want to point out, you asked how I'm doing. Darnell's doing well because Darnell is dancing in the other studio.
Oh, okay. So Darnell is probably dancing and he's listening to the show tonight. And, that's all, Salem family. Thank you so much. The opportunity and that you guys supported. But I tell you, Noah, let's get this show started.
Let's do it.
Michelle, can you please tell our listening audience, first of all, the title of tonight's show?
The title of tonight's show is A Conversation with Melinda Wittstock, entrepreneur, podcaster, and CEO of Podopolo.
Podopolo. I mean, I would never have been able to say that, and I'm glad that I didn't have to. Michelle, can you please tell our listening audience the purpose of the show tonight?
Yes, getting to know the background of Melinda Wittstock and discuss her podcast at Podopolo and talk about Wings of Inspired Business, and also to learn about her career as an award-winning journalist, executive producer, and TV anchor.
Why don't you introduce this absolutely fantastic guest to our listening audience?
Wow, I think we need like a 5-hour show, but we're going to try. Well, Melinda Wittstock is a 5-time serial entrepreneur and acknowledged visionary in tech, media, mobile platforms, and social content who has built innovative businesses to 7- and 8-figure success. She's the CEO and founder of Podopolo, the interactive podcast app that makes listening, social, and podcasting profitable for creators. Melinda also hosts a fast-growing Wings of Inspired Business podcast named by Entrepreneur Magazine as number 8 of 20 of the top business podcasts for 2020. The Wings mission is to lift as we climb, helping female founders leverage their feminine power and collaborate to change the game of business and succeed without trade-off, guilt, or apology. Formerly an award-winning journalist, executive producer, and TV anchor for the BBC, ABC News, CNBC, Financial Times Television, and MSNBC, Melinda created and grew a BBC show to a 20 million audience and also innovated one of the first crowdsourcing mobile apps, growing unique users to 3 million in 8 months. A spiritual practitioner of meditation, yoga, and gratitude, Melinda's passionate about encouraging conscious leadership and social impact entrepreneurship using business as a canvas to solve global challenges. Her travels have taken her to many exotic places. She's a loving mom to 2 teenage daughters and a golden retriever. The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life, proudly presents Melinda Wittstock.
Melinda, welcome to the show. And listen, audience, it's so much more that we did not put in that intro, but we will. And you really gonna get a chance to know this young lady, and she's doing some magnificent things. So, Melinda, we got about 90 seconds before the break. I'm just gonna let you know. Can you please tell our listening audience, just start it, and we'll pick it up on the next one. Can you tell them where you are, where you're from, and where you grew up?
Oh, fantastic. Well, James and Michelle, it's so good to be here. Thank you so much for having me. I love the introduction and just the vibe of the show. It's amazing. So I grew up in Toronto in Canada, and I was one of those kids that went door to door demanding prepayment for my show as a 6-year-old. But I had a black lab growing up. You have a black lab. So my black lab, Prince, was kind of my enforcer. Like if people didn't pay, he was just standing there, I credit him with the first $100 that I made. So, but I live in Santa Monica now, Santa Monica, California. I recently moved to California. I love it here. It's wonderful. But I've lived all over the world, London, New York, Washington, D.C., and just so happy. Just in my nice neighborhood here in Santa Monica.
Wow. We live in Temecula as well as
Close to the mic, James.
We live in Temecula just as well as Dallas, so we love California as well, but I tell you what, we
can't hear you.
We're going to take a station break, but we're going to come back, and we're going to pick up this conversation and really get an opportunity to talk to Melinda. And I tell you, if you want to be part of this conversation, that's 1-888-344-1110. It's Your Life. I'm James Cooley. We'll be back shortly after the break.
There's more stories of...
Sorry, but I had a hard time hearing you there at the end.
It's Your Life
turned it
with
down
James Cooley.
A little bit.
Noah Dingley here, producer of the James Cooley Show.
Can you hear me now?
No, now you're fine.
Okay. Is that too loud?
A journey. No. It's perfect.
Okay. Okay, we good, man. We good.
James shares it.
Hey, Noah.
It's better and to be honest, it's always better to be too loud than too quiet because I can always turn you down, but there's only so much I can turn you up.
Okay.
The new audio.
Okay, and that's good. That's good to know.
A journey that ain't over yet.
Yeah.
James Cooley on
but I tell you, I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna ask the first question. Michelle got 2. You got 2.
The J.C. Cooley Foundation is a nonprofit organization that was started in October.
Oh, we actually kind of chatted for about a minute and a half before the show started about like her daughter and then my son and like a couple of different things she's done. So I'm already intrigued, man.
Man, you're going to be even more intrigued, my
Events
friend.
that we're offering this year. Experience firsthand the
you one of the most talented guys. I'm being honest with you. And I know I done said that many times, but
and we rely heavily on the generosity of individuals.
Well, I appreciate that, man. Like it to use the phrase you use, it tickles me pink more than you know when you say it.
Here, we ask that you make a commitment to support our annual appeal by making a cash donation.
We got this
year's goal is $50,000.
I'm going to bring it back.
Let me know when you come back.
Difference in the lives of the youth in our community. You can give online at CooleyFoundation.org. Remember that
Hey, Michelle.
Hi, Noah.
Hey, did you hear, and I'm just guessing because we have similar tastes, did you hear that Sydney died today?
Yeah, Sidney Poitier. Yeah. He was like 94, I think.
He was one of my favorite old school actors.
Oh my gosh! Did you remember watching that movie Serve with Love?
It's really funny you say that. I was on Andrea's show because we're both big fans. We were playing the theme song.
Oh, I love that song by Lulu.
Our next generation of leaders and heroes.
If you guys want to work it into the show, I already made sure it was cleared. I can play portions of it if you want during the show.
I would love to. Hey James, no one wants to play portions of Sidney Poitier's movie, the song "To Serve with Love."
Let's do it.
Investor,
let me know where you want to put it in.
Just let me know where you want to put it in.
Well, you the producer, man. Come on, man.
Well, I'll just use it. I'll tell you what. I'll just use it coming back here in the next couple of segments, and you can just make a quick comment, and then we'll move on.
For the self-employed, our approval process.
Because I think he's one of the. I mean, they don't make actors like him anymore.
Man, you know what, man? He's a legend, man.
Remember that movie Guess Who's Coming to Dinner with Katharine Hepburn and Spencer Tracy?
I actually, out of all of the ones he's done, that's actually my favorite. I love that movie.
Oh yeah, it was a beautiful movie. So much class. He had class.
That's why I think he's going to be sorely missed. A lot of people love that about him.
Yeah.
AccelerateCapital.com.
Equal housing.
All right, guys, coming back.
Here we go.
Number 1165716. Not all will qualify. California DFPI license number 41DBO 45150. Additional restrictions may apply. Loans made or arranged pursuant to the California Residential Mortgage Lending Act.
FM 96.1 and AM 1170. The Answer.
It's time to dream big, think big, and be big. It's time for more It's Your Life. Now, here's your host, James Cooley.
Hello, welcome back to It's Your Life. I'm James Cooley. And, you know, my producer always throws some great things in there to get up. And my wife is over here singing. And no, you know, I don't think that's something that we want her to do right now.
I am not singing. That's a tribute to Sidney Poitier, one of his films, To Serve with Love. He passed away today.
Yeah.
One of the greatest actors of all time, in my opinion. I love him.
And you're absolutely right. We are big Sidney Poitier fans, and when I watched a lot of his movies, I think Michelle, the most favorite one you like is
Guess Who's Coming to Dinner and To Serve with Love.
Too, Michelle.
Great actor, great man, great advocate, and he's going to be sorely missed. But I tell you, we got a great entrepreneur that's on the show tonight. Not just an entrepreneur, but she's been a journalist, award-winning journalist, TV personality. I mean, and it's so many other things that we was not able to get into the intro that we getting ready to talk about. But listen, audience, if you want to be part of this conversation, that's 1-888-344-1170. Melinda, I know that we started, we ended the last segment by asking you to tell us a little bit about you, and you did. But it's so much more. My question to you is, did you always want to be an entrepreneur, or was that something that you grew into as you developed and you understood your skills and things that, or what we call a purpose?
Yeah, James, that's a great question. I don't even think I knew what an entrepreneur was. Like, I didn't know the word. I kind of had no idea when I was a kid growing up. But I look back, and I was always doing entrepreneurial things. I was always seeing a problem and deciding that I was going to be the one to go fix it, or seeing an opportunity and whatnot. So, like I mentioned at that first segment about being 6 years old and going door to door, because I'd created this whole show that, people had to come to. But just even, I don't know, as I was growing up as a kid, I was a competitive figure skater, and I turned pro, and I started teaching skating as a teenager, and I could make a lot more money doing that than any other kind of job, I suppose, that I could have gotten. But when I went to college, I was actually really quite rebellious. Like, my dad had always been saying to me that I would be good in business and I should be an entrepreneur, or I should be in business or finance or whatever. And my rebellion was becoming a journalist. And so I joined my student newspaper, the McGill Daily, but before long, as I was writing all these stories and breaking big stories in the paper, I created the advertising department of the student newspaper, and then increased its distribution citywide at McGill in Montreal, so that we could turn a profit on the paper and increase its pagination. And to do that, I had to create an English language entertainment listing, which was the first in Montreal ever created. So I found myself being kind of an inadvertent entrepreneur in a way, that in my rebellion of becoming a journalist, I still couldn't help it. I still just were doing these entrepreneurial things.
Wow. Melinda, can you tell us about the podcast app, your CEO of Podopolo, and why is it different from all the other podcast apps out there?
Oh, gosh, yeah. Michelle, there are so many different podcast apps, but none of them have evolved to where we're taking podcasting, which we call it podcasting 3.0. Podopolo features more than 4.5 million podcasts, audio and video, in all languages, and they're personalized for the listener around their interests, what interests them, but moreover, it's truly interactive, so that you can actually meet friends or discuss with your friends and take the conversation from the podcast further in a fully social and interactive environment. And we really think that because podcasting is such an in-depth and intimate medium, that really brings people together for a more kind of in-depth conversation often, or it could just be, really fun, but really specific around specific interests, that it can actually elevate the conversations that we currently have on social media beyond what we experience on, Facebook or Twitter or Instagram by virtue of that. It's also really different because for the first time, we're putting power and profit in the hands of the creators of the podcast themselves. Because when you put a podcast on, Apple, Spotify, Google, Stitcher, iHeart, or whatever, they're monetizing your content, and very few podcasters, in fact, 85% of podcasters don't make any money from their podcasts, which we think is wrong. And so on Podopolo, for the first time, we were really working and have engineered the whole app and its user experience, not only to make it better for listeners and viewers, but for the podcasters themselves to grow their reach, to grow their, encourage their discoverability, but to grow their engagement in a time-saving way. So folks can actually concentrate on the content more than all the promotion and all the other things that podcasters have to do. And best of all, allow podcasters to actually make money from their content, no matter how many downloads or no matter their size. And we do this by placing mission-aligned advertising on podcasts, both on air and on the app, but also through subscription revenue. And soon we will have a way for podcasters to create NFTs off the Podopolo platform as well. So there's lots of different ways that Podopolo really is very, very different and taking podcasting to the realm of podcasting 3.0.
Hey, Melinda, producer Noah here. Got to chat with you a little bit off the air before the show got started. Very excited about this because I am a podcast aficionado. Besides having my own weekend radio show, I have dabbled in podcasting myself. I'm actually in the process of revamping my Outside of Radio podcast. So with this app, you're making listening social, and you say podcasting is a great way to lift the quality of discourse. I'm curious why you think that is.
Well, I think podcasting is inherently an intimate medium. People get to really know and like and trust the host. And often, in all our research before this, so many listeners told us that they wish they could share a clip of a podcast or share an episode or start a discussion with a friend. You know that moment when you're listening to a podcast and you have an aha. It's like, oh my God, like either that was just really funny or that was just that little insight or aha moment or epiphany you want to share maybe with your team or your partner or your kid. Any kind of context. That's really difficult to do. You got to figure out, okay, so where is my friend? Are they over here on Twitter or Instagram or text message or whatever? How do I get the clip? How do I share it? How do I actually spark a conversation around it? So we make that really easy to do, not only to take an episode or a clip of an episode or an episode playlist and instantly share that with a friend or invite your friends into the app to be able to do that on the app itself, but also suggest people that you should know based on who are all the other people who are interested in listening to the same podcast as you, that you could have a conversation with, but also casting it beyond, to social media and whatnot. But, really podcasting, because it is inherently just much more intimate and in-depth as a media, we believe that the kind of conversations that it sparks on social or in the interactive way can just take that conversation further. And moreover, there's an inherent feedback loop. You have a call-in radio show, right? So people call in and ask questions and whatnot. On Podopolo, it's very, very similar. One of the features that's coming soon is the ability to leave an audio comment. We also have live social audio coming soon as well, where a podcaster can really engage their listeners. For instance, before the podcast is coming up, like say, for instance, in this show, you could say, hey, everybody, Melinda Wittstock's going to be on the show. Here's all the stuff about her. What kind of questions do you want to ask her? And put those folks effortlessly on your show. And reward them for asking questions or contributing to the show and back around again. So we think it's a really interesting feedback loop between on air and on the app itself, with each time around all the information, all the ahas from the podcast can really be turned into actionable information for people that actually improves their lives, connects people meaningfully to people that they want to connect with but didn't have any other means, and just deepens the conversation overall.
Wow. The way you explain that makes it seem simple. But
it's not simple. It's not simple to do.
No. What I'm trying to say is, not simple like that. I'm talking about, but it opens up some eyes that as a podcaster, as a host, that you want to know more, you want to learn more, and I think that our listening audience is locked into this, and we're gonna tell them more. But we got to take a station break right now. But when we come back, we're going to continue this great conversation with Melinda Wittstock. If you want to be part of the conversation, that's 1-888-344-1170. It's your life. I'm James Cooley.
There's more stories of great...
Dude, where did you find this amazing woman? This is cool, man.
Dude, we got a lot of them coming up, my James Cooley. We got a lot of them coming up.
This is good. I like this one.
Oh, man.
Journey through life.
No, I can see you asking questions that aren't even on the agenda, just as you being a podcast too,
Yeah, my brain is already racing, and I'm not even looking at the script at this point.
That's cool. She likes things that, not scripted, so this is great.
Story, a struggle, and
my next question after James brings it back is definitely not on the script.
Okay.
Okay, so you got to put it in there because
in life.
we got a lot more, but you got the next question. I'm gonna bring it back.
Not their final.
You got it. And then I'm going to take over probably three questions. Turn back to Michelle.
To provide hope.
Probably get it back to you. I don't know. We'll get it back to you in the third segment. The fourth segment, we are
to be an overcomer.
I'm curious about which question you're going to steal or which one you're going to say.
The new audio version of my...
Oh, my next one's not even on there, man. It's,
man. Okay.
It's a combination of radio and podcasting into one.
Hey, man, you got, that's
great. You got everything young adults and citizens of our great communities nationwide
that we can...
Oh, I was just going to play the same one again.
Okay, let's do that.
Which is tomorrow. We ask that you make a commitment to support.
This is a very good show. She's a lot of information I didn't know about.
And making a difference.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man.
Community. You can give online.
Yes.
A lot of, and that's why I liked her answer, because a lot of people don't really know the work that goes into building a podcast. Like, they just think it's easy. You plug in a mic, you talk, and then you upload it, and it's like, it's a lot deeper than that.
It's a lot of work, Noah.
True life. I mean, you know that, but yeah.
Yeah.
It's both a cautionary tale and a roadmap to achieving the American dream. Get the new audio version of Country Boy, City Boy. By the way, you find people should know. Oh, I don't know. We're on Facebook Live, so I can't say. I'll text you what I was going to tell you about certain someone.
Okay, text me. Don't say it on there.
No.
Okay.
In case she happens to be plugged in, I don't want to spoil nothing.
Just text it.
Yeah.
How much time? In 30 seconds?
We are back in 30 seconds.
Okay.
Here's how to become reactionaries against this so-called progress. There's a better way to live. It's the reactionary way. Read about it in the new book, The Reactionary Mind.
Yes, sir.
We open up with, before you play the music, just a real quick conversation with you, Michelle.
Divorce
maybe
rates
about
are
1 minute,
but only
then you play the song again,
Death
and then
despair
you
has
come
led
back
to a drop
and
in
you ask
life
the question.
expectancy among...
Sounds good, bud.
Okay.
This new book, The Reactionary Mind, shows how we can fight the growth of wokeism and find peace and happiness centered around our families. Be happy. Be a reactionary. Order Michael Warren Davis's witty, provocative new book, The Reactionary Mind, Why Conservative Isn't Enough, from Amazon and wherever books are sold.
Streaming now at theanswersandiego.com and odyssey.com.
It's time to dream big, think big, and be big. It's time for more It's Your Life. Now, here's your host, James Cooley.
Hello, welcome back to It's Your Life. I'm James Cooley, and Noah, I always use the term tickle pink. I'm telling you, this is one of those wow, tickle pink moments.
I don't think I've ever said on the show when I've been tickled pink, because that's kind of a you thing, but I'm definitely tickled pink because she's fascinating. I'm loving learning all this additional stuff about podcasting, which is a realm that you and I both are very close to as well.
Absolutely. Fascinating. And, I know that my show is probably on 20-something different podcasts, but I don't even know anything about it because Salem and you guys do all of those things for us, but I'm learning a lot, and we got this absolutely fantastic guest that's explaining to us. And Noah, I tell you, we getting ready to learn a whole lot more about what gives her the qualification, the certification, the notarization. I mean, I threw that one in there to be able to talk about these types of things. And man, I tell you, I'm just so excited that she decided to come on my show. No.
I'm excited about it too because, even when you work in an industry, I mean, I've been in radio since the earth cooled, and I've dabbled in podcasting for quite some time. To see somebody that's bringing something new to the table in so many different ways and being able to get people excited about where the industry is going, that's good stuff right there.
Wow, you know what? I want to get back into this young lady, but I still, I'm missing Sydney a little bit. Can you play that cut one more time before we ask her? Rest in peace. Hey, thank you so much, my friend, for that. And you're up.
Yeah, I'm very excited that we just have this great guest on the show. And Melinda, you know, there's so many different podcasts out there. What do you think it takes to build a dynamic podcast that really stands out from the rest? Because we have a lot of different podcast selections, many different apps that you can get a show on. So what does it take to actually produce something so dynamic that it takes it kind of above the rest?
Oh, that's a great question, because there are so many podcasts now. 30,000 new podcasts are being created every month, and on Podopolo we have 4.5 million of them. I personally believe that the best podcasts are just very authentic. When the host is coming at it with not only expertise to share, but a real passion, and they're really being themselves and being really authentic, it translates over the air or over the over the increasingly the metaverse, and to really connect in a deeper way with an audience. And all the folks that I advise on creating podcasts, it's to be really true to who you are as a host, to have a real mission and purpose. Often the best podcasts have a reason for why they're doing what they're doing, and invariably it's to improve lives in some way, whether it's making people laugh or it's teaching them a specific skill. A lot of podcasters come into it, though, stressing only about what kind of microphone should I have, or, how should I do the tech, or these sorts of things. The most important thing, though, is to know who your audience is, who you're speaking to, and to get to know your audience and understand them. And that's another differentiating aspect of Podopolo, because we are the only platform that actually shares actionable audience insights and make those transparent to the podcaster. So imagine for a moment knowing, say, that at 13 minutes in your podcast, people tend to stop listening at that point, or people like to listen more on a Tuesday than they do on a Thursday, or wow, you share an audience with this other podcast, and so would you like to invite their audience to your podcast? And is there a nice cross-promotional opportunity between two podcast hosts? And the artificial intelligence data that we have within the app acts as kind of an audience podcaster matchmaker, if you will. It's almost like a dating app in that sense, to really help podcasters get to know their audiences, as well as being able to engage, therefore, with their audiences more meaningfully. So it's really important to know who you're talking to have a really strong mission, be authentic, and create with joy. I mean, have fun doing it. And I think all of that translates when to listeners of a podcast.
Wow. That is absolutely fantastic. Melinda, you are a podcaster yourself.
Yes.
Can you tell our listeners a little bit about Wings of Inspired Business? And tell us about the mission.
Right. Well, I started it because I'm a serial entrepreneur, and a lot of my business has been tech focused, and there are not a lot of women in tech, or women out there raising lots of venture capital money. And like a lot of people in podcasting, I started the podcast that I wish I'd had coming up. I really wanted to give back. I wanted to really affirm and acclaim the entrepreneurial journeys of female founders. More than 670 episodes now. I interview women who've created 7, 8, and 9-figure businesses, occasionally, unicorn level, billion-dollar businesses. And they share very transparently, as do I, what our struggles are along the way as entrepreneurs, the things that we have to overcome, the mindset that we need, how to manifest the confidence, connections, and capital, how to really understand our own value, so many of these things, so that other women have at their fingertips what, many of the women who came before didn't, and had to kind of struggle to learn. So I really believe that, certainly with this podcast, I've endeavored to create an ecosystem where women really I guess, lift as we climb, that we help each other up, that we buy from each other and invest in each other, mentor each other and whatnot. So have created a real community around Wings. And really, I had a mission also to support other female-founded businesses. And so Wings has really created an environment where it has really built so many other businesses, because I send people to women-owned businesses to buy from the women who've been on my podcast. So that's just really exciting to be able to come at it from that abundance mindset. And along the way in my own podcast, I mean, honestly, I learned what I perceive as the structural problems are for podcasters that prevent them from making money. It's very difficult on the Apple algorithms to be discovered, because those algorithms really focus on the same 100 podcasts over and over again. It's very hard to stand out. It's hard to stand out with organic social media marketing, and it's hard to make money because most advertisers don't even look at a podcast unless it has more than 10,000 downloads an episode, and that's less than 2% of the entire marketplace. And so I really learned firsthand through my own podcast and through that experience of building that audience to 1 million people what it actually takes to do, and how could I make it easier for others just to do that and not have to go through everything I had to and many other podcasters have to really grow their reach and discoverability and to be able to make money from their podcast.
Wow.
Yeah, I have a question for you, Melinda, because I think it's very dynamic to ask and very important, depending on if you're a creator, where to take your podcast, whether it's, exclusively through Apple or Spotify. There's so many of the other options out there on the internet, YouTube as well. I know a big question in a lot of people that are creating content they have in their mind is, if I take Podopolo and I use that as my platform to create, do I own the content? For me, that's personally very important.
Yes, you 100% own your own content, and you should always own your own content. And we believe that a podcast should be on all platforms. Where some platforms are really going for exclusivity, to own the content and lock it down, and you can only be heard here. We look at someone like Joe Rogan, whose audience has been cut in half doing that.
Yeah,
we really encourage podcasters to be everywhere. My own podcast is everywhere else. It's on all the other platforms. I want as many people as possible to discover it. But what I want them to do is to come back on Podopolo, where they can interact with me and each other. And on Podopolo, you start to get not only that monetization, but all the actionable audience insights and the data, and a time-saving way to be able to engage meaningfully with your audience. So I want that distribution. I see all those other platforms, in effect, as lead gen into my own community, where I can own my own community and monetize my community on Podopolo, and that's the difference.
That's great to hear.
Wow. I tell you, we got a great call up on the line, but I'm not going to take that call right now because I want to take the break. But when we get back from the break, we got your friend, my friend, on the line, and I tell you, the information that you're putting out right now is invaluable to anybody that is a podcast host. So I tell you, listen on. If you want to be part of this conversation, that's 1-888-344-1170. We'll be back with Melinda Wittstock. It's Your Life. I'm James Cooley.
There's more stories of...
Dude, you heard it here first. Got to do a part 2.
It's Your Life with James Cooley.
You need to say that.
The J.C. Cooley Foundation is
I will definitely say it, and I'll definitely invite her on my show. I have like a million questions for her.
And I do programs and offerings to the youth, young adults, and citizens of our great communities nationwide and overseas.
I'm gonna come back.
We hope that you'll be able to take part in one or more of the many exciting events that we're and experience firsthand the pride we take in supporting our cause. It's our mission to equip the youth of today for the challenges.
I don't want you bruised.
But this is so
and business owners for support. Without the assistance of community-minded,
gets back on real soon.
You either do it right at the beginning or the end of the segment, and I will ask her personally to come back on.
Donation. No, this year's goal is $50,000. Your
Well, you got it.
Making a difference in the lives of the youth in our community. You can give online at CooleyFoundation.org. Remember that every donation makes a difference regardless of size. The J.C. Cooley Foundation thanks you in advance for your contribution.
We have plenty of time. We have 11 minutes when we get back.
Ain't Over Yet, the true life coming of age story by James J.C. Cooley, using humor, wit, and engagement.
We got 10 minutes.
No.
It's a picture about his arrival in a rural deep south town and realization
Hear me?
never be the same. Cooley lays out his
11 minutes.
city life to country life and back again, sharing his hard-earned lessons to educate, encourage, and enlighten our next generation of leaders and heroes. Get your copy of Country Boy, City Boy, A Journey That Ain't Over Yet by James J.C. Cooley, available on Amazon and everywhere books are sold.
Okay.
Cultural Marxism is spreading like wildfire in America. It shows up in everything from critical race theory to the LGBT movement to cancel.
Back in 45 seconds.
25
so-called
seconds.
woke
No, 45. He's got time.
flooding into the church.
Decide not to be content
Great
with
show.
merely
Oh
being
my gosh, she's so full of information. This is great.
Oh, it's awesome.
Yeah, very
New
good.
documentary, How the Left is Stealing Your Church, exposes the infiltration of Bible-believing churches and denominations by an anti-God, anti-gospel agenda. From George Soros giving money to Campus Crusade to the Southern Baptist Convention's recent flirtation with critical race theory, you will discover how this false ideology is being smuggled
All right, back in 10.
local church and how the left is stealing your church. Stream it now for $9.99 or get the DVD for $12.99. Watch on your phone, tablet, or TV. Go to salemnow.com or look for the Salem Now app.
So who goes
The Answer, San Diego. Streaming now on iHeart.com and Odyssey.com.
It's time to dream big, think big, and be big. It's time for more It's Your Life. Now, here's your host, James Cooley.
Hello, welcome back to It's Your Life. I'm James Cooley, and I'm still tickled. This is so much fun, and it's so educational, especially to podcasters or hosts. It's so much information that we don't know, that we need to kind of look into to make sure that whatever brand or whatever product that we putting out, that we understand and we know how to get it out there to the listening audience. So it's beneficial to everyone. And It's Your Life, I'm just plugging. It's Your Life is about your life. And I'm so happy to have this young lady here with us tonight. And listen, if you want to be part of this conversation, that's 1-888-344-1170. Again, that's 1-888-344-1170. We got an absolutely fantastic caller on the line. I mean, I absolutely love this young lady. And, she is so wonderful and so inspirational to me in what I'm doing in radio and in all media. No, do we still have that absolutely fantastic caller?
Yeah, we have the only Paula Shaw right here with us on It's Your Life. Hey, Paula.
How you doing, Paula?
Oh my God, that was worth the whole call and the wait. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Well, welcome to the show.
I couldn't resist calling because all my favorite people are on the line. And so, but Melinda, I want to be totally authentic, as you have stressed we should be. I know you. I love you. I have a podcast on Podopolo. But you know what? I think a lot of people listening to this show are not podcasters. And they may be asking themselves, why should I go there? Why should I mean, if I ask Siri to play a podcast for me, she brings it up probably on iTunes or Apple. And why should I go to the trouble of listening to a show on Podopolo? And after you answer that, I have one other question if there's time, but I thought I'd go with the listener's perspective first.
Oh, Paula, thank you so much for asking that question, and it's such a delight to hear your voice. Oh, my goodness.
Thank you. This is the most important thing because it starts with the listener. It starts with delivering a really relevant experience to them, an easy experience, a time-saving experience, an experience that's going to elevate their lives in whatever way, in whatever genre. So one of the things that's very different about Podopolo is it really matches podcasts to what the listener says his or her interests actually are, even their language preferences, because it's a truly international and global app in every language. So it's very personalized, first of all. However, mindful of, all the conversations we've been having recently about the dangers of social media and the filter bubble that pushes people into division and these different, we've really architected what we call our recommendation engine in such a way that people can easily discover things that are really great that they didn't necessarily know they were interested in. And because the app is inherently social, you can see what your friends are listening to. You can see different recommendations from different people, and you can have meaningful conversations. We've also really focused on making the app really easy to use, that it's never more than one swipe or one click to be able to connect with your existing friends or with friends that should be your friends or people that can help you in some way and vice versa. That's so important. We have a lot of really exciting features coming up too. We were talking a little bit earlier in the show about being able to share content with other people. And I know, Paula, often when I've listened to your podcast and I hear some aha moment, I'm like, oh my goodness, I want to share that with my team, or I want to share that with my partner, or whatever. And it's difficult. It's like, how do I get this podcast and share it? And I'm sharing a long file or whatever. That's kind of hard to do. So we've innovated what we call clips. And it's very, very easy for a user just to clip a 15-second or 20-second or minute-long clip of a podcast. It creates this beautiful video file that's kind of similar. It looks really gorgeous that you can comment on and share across Podopolo, much like the way Reels, say, on Instagram or TikTok works, but also beyond to social media. It's great for the podcaster because their content is more easily shareable. And I know that if someone shares something with me and it's only 15 seconds, I'm more likely to listen to it and decide whether I like it or whatever, and then I want to know more and I want to follow that podcaster and engage with the podcaster, or spark a conversation with my friends. And so everything we do really is about making it a great place for the listener, because if it's a great place for the listener, it's going to be a great place for the podcaster as well.
Oh, wow. I just love that. And if I can indulge myself in one more quick question, you said something so important, because as a podcaster, I know I have put time and hours and dollars into the creation of my show, and I've been doing this for over 5 years now. And sometimes you get a sponsor and it works and you're great. And then sometimes you're on your own. It's coming out of your own bank account. So you mentioned that you help podcasters to monetize. Can you talk a little bit more about how you do that?
That's right. Well, right now, we have a free offer for podcasters when they come in and they authenticate that they're the owner of the podcast. It starts to unlock all these accelerated features, cross-promotion, and being on the Discover page or top of genre or in our recommendations. Beyond that, it unlocks all the audience insights and advertising. Because we actually understand who's listening, we can say with precision to an advertiser exactly who is pre-qualified for their offer. So for the first time on Podopolo, podcasters who haven't qualified for advertising because they don't have large numbers, like 10,000 downloads or more is the industry standard. It means a podcaster with 1,000 downloads
if we know who those people are, we can match them to the right advertiser for that. And the advertiser has a really solid understanding of, maybe 80% of these people are going to convert to an offer, as opposed to it just being like a guessing game of maybe 1% of 10,000. So advertising both on air and on app is a really big part of how podcasters monetize. When podcasters sign up for that free offer, and we start sending them checks, and they don't have to pay us anything. It's really, so it's kind of a no-brainer. But the other way, and this is debuting soon, is our subscription part of the app, where podcasters can put premium content behind a paywall. So, for instance, an ad-free listen, or maybe an exclusive premium content, or an early episode drop. And moreover, swag, merchandise, e-courses for all the podcasters to use their podcast to really grow their own businesses, can use
2 minutes.
Those audience intelligence to shape those offers and convert them better using that e-commerce part of our app as well.
Wow. We're down to like the last 90 seconds of the show.
Thank you, guys.
We're down to the last 90 seconds of the show.
Thank you, that was great.
Melinda, I have to have you back on. There's so much stuff that we did not get to.
I'd be delighted.
Have to have you, and
I'd be delighted anytime.
Real quickly, 30 seconds or less, how can our listening audience or a potential podcast or someone that want to be on your platform, how can they get in touch with you? 30 seconds or less.
Yeah, easiest way, download the app. Download Podopolo. I'm on there as Melinda PEO. Podopolo is free in both the Android and the Apple app stores. You can also find me all over social media. So follow Podopolo on Instagram, or Podopolo Network on Twitter and Facebook. And you can go to podopolo.com, the website, but you can also find me. I will give my email out. You can find me at melinda@podopolo.com. So super easy to find me.
Wow. I tell you what, let's have you back on if you have time in about 6 weeks, if that's possible. But I want to thank Melinda for taking the time to come on the James Cooley Show. It's Your Life. Always, I have to thank my great co-host, Michelle Cooley. I tell you, she does all the heavy lifting. My great producer, great producer, Noah Dingley. I'd like to thank, Salem Media for giving me this great opportunity. Most importantly, I'd like to thank my listening audience for taking the time to tune in every night to the James Cooley Show. It's Your Life. We always looking for sponsors so we can continue to bring this great message to you, and also great guests like what we have with Melinda Wittstock. I tell you, I want everybody to have a wonderful weekend. We'll be back Monday, same time, same place. It's Your Life. I'm James Cooley. Have a wonderful, safe weekend. We'll see you Monday.
Thanks for...
Oh, man. Ran out of time. That's all right. That's all right.
No, we got it in there. We got everything in.
It's that was a pretty good show. When you finish up the Zoom, tell her that your producer wants her back on the show, and then I want her on my show, too.
I will certainly do that.
Tomorrow.
And
this has been
I'm going to send her your way.
It's Your Life,
put it on,
where you learn how to dream big.
Yeah, have Michelle copy her and me on an email, because I'd like to communicate.
Okay.
Your Life is sponsored by James
I'll give you a call back.
Do your pets have
let you know before I go to sleep that, hey,
do they have problems
I
with
put that out and she
scratching,
said,
adult coat, or gooby ears? Then you're...
Sounds good, buddy. Give me a call.
All right, man. In a minute. Love you, bro. Have a night, a wonderful weekend.
Love you, too.
All right. Yes.
Turn your volume up.
My volume? Yeah. Okay. Turn yours down.
Mine's is down.
Okay.
You don't want me to tap this finish?
You can finish that. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hit James. Hit finish.
Yes, hit finish.